Next in line is Seattle for their draft grade. Now, when it comes down to Seattle, they made some decent picks, honestly, overall. They replaced some players. They helped themselves out a lot. When they really break it down and you really look at their draft, they're a playoff team that didn't need too much, but at the same time, they needed to have a perfect draft because they paid Russell Wilson all that money. The best pick I feel like the Seattle Seahawks made was L.J. Collier. Think about it. You lose Frank Clark in a week, and then you replace him in the same week. Not saying LJ is going to be up to Frank Clark standards, but they have similar game. And then also you just get that dominant edge rusher or pass rusher that they're accustomed to having. Because they, even when they won their Super Bowl run, they had Cliff Averill and Michael Bennett. But now, I think they're still trying to work on their second guy. Frank Clark was one. I would have liked to see him and Frank Clark team up. That would have been sick. But I feel like LJ Collier definitely is that pass rusher that they need off the edge. That's going to be that guy that they're going to look for to get those double-digit sacks. And then especially in passing downs to be that pressure maker and just really put that heat on the quarterback. So that pretty much is their best pick when you really break it down. It's just like you replace the guy that you lost, and then you still are able to have your first-round pick to do what you want. And on top of that, you didn't have to pay Frank Clark all that crazy money. The worst pick that they made, in my personal opinion, was Travis Homer. Now, when you watch him play, he reminds me a lot. I don't think he's as explosive or as fast as a Chris Carson is, but that's where I feel like he is. So it makes me wonder if they're going to try to replace Chris Carson within the next year or with this year. Maybe he becomes trade available and things like that because you got a guy like Travis Homer. But I personally feel like it was the worst pick just based off the position. I like the player. I just don't like the position because you didn't really need a running back. You took Rashad Penny in the first round last year. You had Chris Carson who ran the ball really well for you this past season. And you still have like a plethora of running backs on your roster. So I understood why they did it. Like, I feel like they were going to replace Chris Carson here shortly because his contract is going to be up and they're going to have to pay him. So you go out and get a guy like Travis Homer to still have that same productivity or have that same production and be able to run the ball in between tackles and things like that. And you have a 1-2 with him and Rashad Penny. But I just don't feel like right now it makes sense. So I'm just kind of nitpicking. Travis Homer just being their worst pick. Like I said, I'm just nitpicking. The pick that they made that I like is not DK Metcalf. It's honestly Phil Hayes. When they look at Phil Hayes, he's on my watch list. I watched him at the Combine, and I really kind of I'm not going to say fell in love with him, but I was really excited about what team he was going to go to because I feel like he could be a starting guard for some team somewhere. He gives Seattle the ability to have a rotational piece now because I think he could play inside both left, right, and center. But also he's an athletic guy. He has a basketball background, which is really cool, which is exciting. Like this guy, when he came off the board, I was excited because I know going to Seattle is the best place for him. Seattle always have a rough offensive line, but they always find a way to kind of patch it together and it be decent. And it may be just the perfume of Russell Wilson, if you will, the guy that's able to be mobile to make those spectacular plays in the pocket to elude guys and get the ball down the field. But realistically, I feel like Seattle has an opportunity to develop him into a starting All-Pro or Pro Bowl guard. And I'm excited to watch him play because he's that athletic, and I think he has the ability to be decent in screen game and pulls and things like that. And it's going to be really excited to watch him play in Seattle. Seattle's final grade is going to be an A. I feel like they had almost close to nearly the perfect draft. Like I said, you lose Frank Clark, you replace Frank Clark. You have other pieces like Cody Barton that I even mentioned. There's a good piece that could possibly either be a starter or at least a rotational piece, things of that nature, who can be a dangerous piece. And I think later down the road, not today, but later down the road. And I think you look at this draft, they're setting themselves up. After signing Russell Wilson, they're setting themselves up to the point where if this guy develops, we can let the guy in front of him go. So we're not paying a lot of people a lot of money. I think they're really honed in and settled down on the idea of Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner being our building blocks. And then everyone else around them, we're just gonna pay the right people, not crazy money, but we're gonna pay them to make sure that we still have some decent, above average pieces at other positions. But realistically, we're gonna build around Russell and we're gonna build around Bobby, and then we're just gonna try to push for the Super Bowl 2 more times, 3 more times before it gets too late. So that's all I have for the Seattle Seahawks draft grade video. They, like I said, had close to a perfect draft because of the pieces that they brought in. Future pieces, I think they got a lot of future pieces, and that's what the draft is about. But then at the same time, still addressing a lot of key needs on the roster. I'm excited to see Seattle and some of the rookies that they got because they got some quality rookies. Not even mentioned DK Metcalf, but they got some quality rookies on their roster now from this draft class. And it's exciting because I feel like this could be a turning point draft class for the Seattle Seahawks. If you're not a footballologist yet, go and subscribe to the YouTube channel today. Become a footballologist. And stay safe, football fans.